What's up?
No, nothing. Why are you being so aggressive?
I'm just saying, what's up?
Just asking a question.
I'm just asking a question. I can't tilt my head. What's up?
Help. Please tell me what is up.
What is up?
I need to know.
My spine is fused. I can't look up.
Help.
Oh,
It's a big turtle shell. I can't turn.
What's up there?
If I'd get on my back
Help.
to look up, I can't get back up.
ah.
There's a scene or a line from Rocko's Modern Life I always remember. Someone said something that made Filbert the turtle laugh so hard that they cut to him and he's rolling on his back because he can't get up and he's laughing. He's like, "Stop it! I'm gonna wet my shell."
Yes.
I've never forgotten that.
I was gonna say the idea of what's up made me think of the way. Have you seen this meme? It's the way that Michael Keaton looks up in the bat suit.
No,
he has to tilt his whole back because he's like
in the Tim Burton film.
Yeah. There's a couple times where Batman has to look up, but because he can't, because his neck doesn't move, and stuff. He has to bend his whole back. He's like, it's awful. It's hilarious.
All right. I want to talk real quick tonight because this does somehow relate. Promise. And I'll keep it quick. But I want to tell people about Justified City Primeval.
Okay, go.
Now just listen to me. I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens, and I'm offering salvation. Talk to me. Come on, face to face.
I am not opening this door.
Then, as they say in the Bible, you're screwed.
Remember,
Marshal, welcome to Detroit.
Detective, meet Raylan Givens.
What's up, Slim? This ought to be good.
Got a task force with the Detroit PD. You've been special requested.
I promised my kid we got a whole road trip planned back to Miami.
Wasn't a question.
This guy left a trail of shit from Oklahoma to Detroit. He ain't got any cash. We got ourselves a problem.
Manziel shows up. Bad shit is in the air.
Any information on this dude could help us.
Clement Manziel is my client.
He's a killer, and he enjoys it.
You do your job, and I'll do mine.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, you supposed to be in that hat. Travis Tritt. You know, you did a great job. She's very sweet. Sweetheart, why don't you head upstairs? I see you near my daughter again. I'll kill you. Not if I see you first. I ain't gonna sleep at night. This son of a bitch wins.
I don't know what you think you're doing.
You wanna play? Let's play. You want a shooting match? Let's go.
All right, Justified City Primeval is like a continuation of the original. I've talked about how much I love Justified on this show. I love that series. I think it's really great. And at some point there was news like, hey, we're going to make like a mini-series sequel thing on FX. And so it airs on Hulu also. And a lot of the same people are involved. It's not the same like main creative people. It's not like Graham Yost, who I believe was the showrunner for the original series, but you've got Michael Dinner, who's has his name on plenty of good shows. And it is based on an Elmore Leonard book, which is, you know, the man who wrote the Raylan Givens character, and the book Fire in the Hole is the whole basis for the television show. Yeah. And so Timothy Oliphant has returned. It's been like 15 so years, something like that. I think 15 years since Justified. So he's older. He's living in Miami. He's still a marshal. He's got a teenage daughter. His teenage daughter here is played by his actual daughter. Where the hell's her name? Somewhere. Vivian Oliphant plays his actual daughter. Okay. Or she is his actual daughter playing his fictional, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And she looks like him. It's weird.
Okay.
And so you got a whole cast of people here. Ingenue Ellis, Vonnie Curtis Hall, who's great. Yeah, you know that guy. You know which actor I'm talking about. Do you know him by his face?
Probably.
Do you remember the reporter in Daredevil? That's Vonnie Curtis Hall.
Okay. Yeah.
He's in Chicago Hope, but he's been in so many things. It's almost like he's hiding in plain sight.
Right.
He's one of those actors. Adelaide Clemens, Marin Ireland, Victor Williams, Norbert Leo Butts, and Boyd Holbrook is the main villain here.
Okay.
And Boyd Holbrook is great. That dude's actually from Kentucky.
Really?
Like Raylan Givens.
Okay.
But his character, Clement Mansell, is a criminal known as the Oklahoma Wild Man. So not the same Midwestern state, but close. Mm-hmm. So in this one, we're not in Kentucky. We're in Detroit for this 8 episodes. And so Raylan is up there essentially trying to help apprehend this guy, Clement Mansell, the Boyd Holbrook character. Stuff happens. There's a resolution. Story's not important for the purposes of this review. So I'm interested in the show because I love Justified, and I'm interested in this many people coming back and seeing continuation. I'm here for it. So my wife couldn't watch the show past the first episode. And the reason was because, God love her, Vivian Oliphant's voice, people, and I went on Reddit, which maybe you're going to find what you're looking for there. But a lot of people were like, I can't stand the sound of her voice. She has like one of those like high pitched baby talk kind of voices. And so it's just grating on the ears for some people. My problem was, I don't think she's expressive enough of an actress, or this is her first role. So a lot of people were angry that like, okay, she's obviously been cast because Timothy Oliphant's her dad. Yeah. For me, it was just, I'm not getting a read on her emotional. Like I can't tell what state the character's in because I'm not getting enough of emoting. I'm not getting enough from her performance. She'll tell if she's mad, if she's, whatever. So, but on the 3rd episode, she gets put on a plane back to Miami and she leaves the show, basically. Oh, great. So, but the show does get better as we go. It just doesn't feel like the modern day Western that made the original series so memorable, which is a huge draw. We're in Kentucky, we're marshals, we got guns and badges, and we're going over to hollers, and we got people, moonshine, we're drinking bourbon all the time. And, everyone's like, well, if it isn't Raylan Givens, it's just, God damn it, I love that show. But it doesn't feel like a modern day Western when we're in Detroit and no one's a cowboy except Raylan Givens. Like his big cowboy hat was always like a big sight down in Harlan. He was the only person who dressed like that, but it was at least like, well, it's Kentucky. But in Detroit, it's just like, it's even weirder.
Right.
It's but the exception to that feeling is the Boyd Holbrook Clement Mansell character, because he feels like one of those loose cannon, like sociopaths who would wander into a Western town. And that's basically what he is. He's not from Detroit. He's just in town because they're trying to do a thing. And
I'm just passing through.
Right. And so so Raylan Givens is passing through. So it is bookended by a Western feeling, but the bulk of the show doesn't feel that way. It's a little bit anachronistic in that sense. But Raylan again finds himself in a situation where others are willing to cross like a line to get justice served, and he isn't. He's learned that lesson. He's learned that that's not who he wants to be. And so it's not a bad bookend to the series as a miniseries. I just don't know that it's necessary. Like if I were to today ask for Justified as a gift, I'd just say, just give me the original series on Blu-ray. I don't need City Primeval. I don't consider it enough a part of the story of this character to need that.
Sure.
The most important thing for me is it doesn't ruin the original series. It doesn't introduce anything that contradicts anything. Yeah. And so at worst, it just doesn't have that much impact. It's just kind of unnecessary.
Sure.
So I wrote all that, and then the ending actually happens. The second half of the finale happens. And then I was like jaw on the floor. I was like, what a cliffhanger. And so I'm just, the whole second half of the finale, I'm just smiling because it felt like the old show again. And I don't want to say why. It just, things happen and people show up and you're like,
yeah.
And then you're like, is there more? Is there going to be more?
Yeah.
And so if there's more, I'm there.
Okay.
Because if there's more, there's other things going on and characters involved. It's where you're like, Okay. I'd watch more. And so my opinion could change of this series if more came out and proved substantive.
Sure.
So Justified City Primeval. If you liked the original series, check it out when you want to get around to it. By the time you're listening to this, it's been finished for a while. So don't hurry out and see it. But there might be some stuff there for you. So
sweet.
The reason I say that relates is that in the original series, we had a character named Loretta McCready, played by Caitlin Dever.
Ah, okay.
Who is the star of tonight's film, No One Will Save You.
Yes.
I keep getting that title messed up because I
did too.
I wrote an essay titled "No One Is Coming to Save You." Very close to a title I thought about for a while. So every time I was trying to Google the movie, I was like, "What the fuck it's called?"
Right. I kept writing, "No one can save you."
No one can save you. No one will save you. No one's going to save you. No one wants to save you.
Right.
I couldn't figure it out. All right. So this and Justified City Primeval are both on Hulu, actually. That's another thing they share. They're both made by the Fox subsidiaries, whether you got FX or now 20th Century Studios.
Yep.
Dustin.
Yes.
Tell us about No One Will Save You.
No One Will Save You is recently released, like you said, on Hulu. I believe it was released on September 22nd. So as of this recording, it's pretty recent. The story is pretty simple. It's the story of Bryn, played by Caitlin Dever, who is at her home and aliens attack. And that's the story. Yep. And so, of course, there's, some added things in there, but like, that's the story. And, it's interesting because it is, it's gray aliens, right? It's what they call the grays, right? Yeah. They're your typical
stereotypical
alien. Yeah. The big bug-eyed looking, slender chin,
skinny,
big head dudes.
Asexual.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, right. Although there's some different looking ones in here too.
Sure.
But like, but they're the grays and I'm down for that. And I don't know. And then I think the film's like selling point, or the thing that kind of makes it unique a little bit, is that there's no dialogue in the film.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not much. I read later that there's a few lines of dialogue, but I do not remember them. So I assume they existed in the beginning.
It was in the middle.
In the middle? Okay.
Yeah. She's having like a memory or an experience with this person from her past. And she's apologizing. She's saying, "I'm sorry."
Oh, yeah.
I think the only words that are spoken are "I'm sorry."
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well,
for things that don't happen.
Right. But yeah, man, for me, I gave this 2.5 stars. I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. And I don't really know that it's fine. I think it's a little less than fine. I think there are some things that really work against it, which are kind of its cliched, story arc, like character arc for Bryn. And then additionally, I think the lack of dialogue works against it. I think that there's a lot, like, you don't need dialogue, right? Like, you don't need it. But I think that at a certain point when you don't have it, you have to have a good reason to not have it. And I think that this film doesn't have a good reason to not have it. And there's certainly plenty of times that a character in distress would just start talking. Right. And there are things that happen in the film between humans that I feel like it's weird that there's not dialogue.
No speaking.
Yeah. Like, at a certain point, you just kind of have to suspend your disbelief, I guess. But for me, I found myself at least like halfway through the film, maybe 3/4 of the way through the film, thinking like, yeah, it's time to start talking now.
It feels like the film's trying to break some kind of record for screen time without dialogue or something.
Right.
Like, humans would talk here, but we can accomplish the scene without them talking.
Right. Exactly.
So it feels forced, and it's weird because in movies so much you feel like a criticism is the dialogue feels forced, and sometimes here it's like, well, the lack of dialogue feels forced.
Right. Exactly. It's true. But my thought is like, yeah, you just have to have a good reason, because dialogue is so crucial to getting to know a character and getting to feel for a character. And I think part of why I didn't really connect with Bryn as much as I could have is because I never heard her speak. Yeah. And they do go through the effort of letting you know where she's at emotionally, where she's at mentally, and in various, ways that range from clever to, forced. But like, they do put in the effort. But I think not hearing her voice, at least for me, was a way to keep a wall between myself and that character. And I think that worked against the film. So for me, like 2.5 stars, but it's not bad. And like, I don't guess it's a terrible way to spend some of your time, but I do think that the film would have been better in a few key areas been changed.
I only heard random recommendations of the movie. And then I recognized Caitlin Dever from Justified. And so I was like, all right, that's probably enough. And then what pushed me over the edge was I was creeping on Letterboxd and I saw you'd seen it. And I was like, I'm sort of thinking about watching this. Let me go ahead and watch it. And we can talk about it.
Yep.
And her performance on Justified isn't that strong, but she's younger. That was a long time ago. So I was like, I like this actress. I just don't know. And her performance in this movie is a lot better than it was in Justified.
Yeah.
But so, one main reason to see it is, it's a good performance from our lead.
Yep.
And, I'm into it I was into the movie on a visceral level. But there's a point where I don't feel like she's properly outmatched by them. I was thinking that at the first, almost to the midpoint, I was like, she's doing a little too well,
Yep.
And then the third act happens and there's all this body horror and she's, she keeps like not getting away basically.
Yeah.
The situation becomes more and more clear that like there's strong opposition to her. And the music gets really great in the third act too. So I'm a little bit more immersed and, crazier shit starts happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the ending, which is, it's just one of those endings where it makes you kind of feel like, all right, well, at face value, this is kind of stupid.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like. For me, the movie has cool elements, but it doesn't come together into something for me. There's no takeaway for me. Like a lot of the reviews on Letterboxd were like, oh, it's another horror movie about trauma, you know, and people are kind of sick of horror movies exploring this thing. And for me, it's not that it's about trauma. It just doesn't seem for me that it comes together to make any kind of point. Or arrive anywhere. Like to me, if there is to be layered meaning here, then it's not very well executed. But I mean, we can go into spoilers to talk about the actual ending. But for the purposes of people who have not seen it, I don't know. As you say, Dustin, your mileage will vary. It just how much do you like alien movies? How much do you like? It's not very scary. No. So like if you like horror movies, this isn't really a horror movie. It's like a thriller.
Yeah.
It's like it's pretty much someone sat down and was like, aliens invade and home invasion stuff.
Yeah.
So let's, instead of people or demons home invading, let's make it aliens home invading, but it's not an action movie. It's a horror movie. Let's make aliens scary, but aliens themselves aren't that scary. So what they do is they show very soon in the movie what the aliens look like. And, so there's no mystery or whatever. It's more just like, you're not quite sure what they can do.
Yeah.
And then weirder looking ones show up and you're like, oh, shit. I don't know. But it was the ending I had issue with. I was kind of with it in the third act.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what I would rate it, but I'm not quite sure that I would recommend it to the average person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
I don't know.
I think ultimately it's just a little forgettable.
Sure.
And I think that kind of works against it as well, at least for me in terms of recommending it. It's like, I guess, it's fine to spend your time with it, but it's background noise.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be one you're going to revisit. And you probably 5 years from now are going to be like, I know I saw that, but what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people were saying this would have done really well in a theater. Like, it's kind of stupid that they just put it out on Hulu because
sure. Yeah.
Like, we loved Prey, right?
Yes.
Prey was great.
Yep.
But I think we agree Prey would have done very well in theaters too.
Yep.
I think the only reason it wasn't put out was like COVID or something, maybe.
Yeah.
But Prey would have done really well in theaters too.
Yep.
And I think that this would have benefited from that because you'd have people screaming and you'd have the crowd experience kind of pushing this along a little bit, I think, and building a little bit more of a critical approval, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yep.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, let's jump into spoilers.
So at the end of the movie, she's just kind of let go by the aliens because they read her mind and see that she killed her friend when they were kids. And they're like, oh shit, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And so she now is allowed to thrive socially in this town full of possessed neighbors.
Yeah.
Who dance and don't have jobs anymore or whatever. And in a world that is supposedly now governed by aliens and flying saucers.
Yeah.
But she gets to stay herself and not be possessed because I guess her life is bad enough already.
Right. I guess they feel bad for her.
Yeah. That's the thing. The takeaway really is, I do this thing where I'm like, unless I'm completely stupid, but it really is no, I'm not stupid. They're not communicating a message to me.
Yes.
So I am left with a face value retelling of events, which is they read her mind.
Yep.
They look at this childhood trauma and then they literally look up at each other. They literally have two aliens look at each other and make a face. And if the aliens, it would have been hilarious if the only bit of dialogue in the movie was a Gralien just going, fuck. And then they asked the mother, the roof. I don't even know what it is. They asked the roof of their ship, hey, what do we do?
Yeah.
And it's whatever. I can't remember the syllables it says, but they repeat it. It's almost funny because it's mean bee. And they're like, mean bee. And they look down at her. They're like, mean bee. And then they let her go.
Mean bee.
Yeah. So I don't know what to make of that. Do you have a different reaction from me?
No, I also don't know what to make of it. I mean, I guess the idea is they felt sorry for her or whatever. And I guess the takeaway, if you extend the analogy, is I guess if you're traumatized enough, you'll be fine. I guess. I don't know.
No, it's almost like your trauma is good because these people who don't have trauma, they're zombies now.
Yeah, right.
They don't get to live anymore. They're just our puppets.
Your trauma is your superpower. I don't know.
What was their plan? These people exist to just solely validate her now, basically. If you're an alien, it's well, we were going to take your people, possess them, and then leave. Yeah. But because you had such a terrible childhood, we're going to stay. We're going to change our whole plan and stay and live here.
Here's the other thing. When it comes to alien invasion movies, on a large, we don't know how big this is. Is it one city? Is it contained to the whole world? We don't know. But the idea that the saucers are flying around in not cloaked and all of that makes me think it's bigger than just the one city.
It's everywhere.
But the idea is she's special because her trauma is unique. But I'm but there's a lot of people with way more trauma than that.
Go listen to a true crime podcast, you guys. There's so many people who you're gonna have to extend this leniency to very many people.
A lot of people.
Unfortunately, many people have had just as bad of an experience as her, or much worse.
Much worse.
Yeah.
And I guess they're all fine. I don't know.
I want to see the sequel where they're well, we have to possess somebody, okay? We can't just let everyone go, okay? I mean, guys, shit. What are we doing here?
Where the aliens go to the corporate office and the owner, the manager is there going, hold on, whoa. You let 45,000 people go.
We can't make these kind of exceptions, you guys.
Look, it's a hard and fast rule. I said you go down there, you possess. I didn't say...
But boss, she killed her best friend. I don't give a fuck.
Look, this is a numbers game, Jamal. You were sent to do a job. Now, do I have to get somebody else who could do that job? Because that's a different conversation.
Gleeborg, how are your numbers? Excellent, sir. That's right.
Now,
Gleeborg takes no prisoners. Well,
Jamal,
he takes prisoners. He doesn't leave people unpossessed. Taking prisoners is literally Gleeborg's job.
Yeah.
As manager of prisoner taking.
Right. Think about your children. They rely on you to do your job. Yeah. And here you're not doing your job.
You know what you are? You're a slacker.
Yeah. This is
plain and simple.
Right, exactly. And this is not the first time we've had to reprimand you, Jamal. Like, you have to take some accountability of this job. Do you want a promotion? Do you want to stay? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
You want your own ship?
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of this.
You think I got here by making excuses and letting people go just because they had, oh, no, I killed my friend. Oh.
You have a PhD in invasion and you're working... You're working an entry-level position here.
Jamal, why don't you grow up? Why don't you grow up?
Your son, Exnor, would be ashamed of you, Jamal.
And by that, I mean my son, Exnor. We both know I'm his real father. Oh, yeah, we're getting personal, Jamal. Your numbers justify this becoming a personal beef between the two of us.
And while we're at it, there are 14 workplace allegations against you that you're rude in the mornings and you have bad breath.
I've got a filing cabinet with your name on it, Jamal.
Look, HR, this is not the first time your name has come across my desk.
This is your third strike.
Has been in here. Now, look, this is your second strike, but there will not be a third. Do I make myself clear? Now, get out there and you go possess that girl. And all the other ones that you let go.
Go get them right now. Today.
And I'm just going to say, you have a type. It's a little weird. It's a lot of 20-something girls that you're letting go here.
Doesn't help with the allegations, Jamal. It doesn't help paint a picture of you as a wholesome, career-focused employee. It makes it seem like you're kind of in this for yourself.
Do you remember our company slogan? We probe because we care. Oh man. Look, so I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just The Office. I just want to see The Office, but with all aliens.
Yeah, like after a while, you watch the movie and you're just like, okay, I'm not sure what they're here to do. Like,
yeah.
Okay, first we're here just to like break in this girl's house and like look at her shit, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, do we want to hurt her? And then are we hurting her? Are we coming after her because she killed one of us? Or were we, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of unclear, like what is causing what. And I guess maybe that's thinking too hard. But at a certain point, you're like, what do they want? Are they trying to kill her?
Yeah.
Or are they trying to catch up to her?
Yeah,
what are they doing? Like, at what point do they decide they're going to put the little spiky koosh ball monster in her mouth?
Yeah.
Why can she just pull it back out?
Yeah.
Why couldn't someone else go like, you know, and I guess traumatized people just inherently reject their reality. And it's just like, oh, I'm happy. This can't be real.
Right. Yeah.
It's right. It's just like with, I mentioned this I mentioned this in my Melancholia review. It's like, it's the idea being like that depressed people expect bad things to happen.
Sure.
So if a crisis happens, they're like, all right, it's all right. You know, they don't panic like other people who try to control the situation, you know?
Sure.
So in this situation, is that what it is? Is she just inherently distrustful? Or is she just like, oh yeah, but my friend is dead. This can't be real. At which point I'm going back to Jamal and being like, Jamal, what's this illusion, man?
Yeah.
She called bullshit immediately, Jamal.
Immediately.
What is your deal?
Yeah,
you put her dead friend and made her seem like she's alive?
Right.
Hey, Jamal, why don't you just have her wake up and make another fucking dress, you idiot? God. What's up with you? Is this your first simulation?
Right.
Unbelievable.
Look, do I have to have Z-Bar retrain you? Because I will ask him to.
It's going to be a long nanosecond space ride back to our home planet. And I hope you think about your performance during this invasion, because it's been piss poor.
It has been abysmal.
It's been 8 tentacle thumbs down.
Yes. Yeah, man. Well, so let me. Here's the thing. So if this is an allegory for trauma, which I guess it is,
sure,
but it's not a good one, because my thought is, okay, if it were me, and I don't know, maybe this is more formulaic, or maybe this is, less interesting. I don't know.
Maybe it's formulaic, but is it clear? Because
right.
that would be better.
So my thought is, okay, if she's traumatized and she has this like lingering thing in the back of her mind that's holding her down and basically attacking her every so often, right?
Yeah.
Then the aliens become a metaphor for her own mind, like her own sense of guilt, her own, morality that's coming back up and, biting her every so often. If that's the case, then she needs to be the only one being attacked.
Right.
Right. Or at least the first. And it is something about her that draws the aliens to her, or something about her situation or whatever that makes them intrigued by her. And my thought was, okay, so the first alien that attacked her was probably not looking to harm her, but looking to talk to her or befriend her or study her or interview her. And when she killed him, then it became a problem. Yeah. Right. So now she was not being hunted, and now she is being hunted. But again, she's the only one. Right. And it's because she's in this, she's traumatized, right? She has this thing that nobody else has. And so then as the story progresses, what you would expect is that to be made clear that she now has to, that by fighting these aliens, which are a manifestation of her trauma, that then by fighting them, she is fighting against her own trauma. And I think they tried that because there's a section in the film where the aliens produce a clone of her. Yeah. But I don't guess they've done this for anyone else in this whole invasion. I'm not sure.
If you can do that, then man, why are we?
What's the point of possessing somebody if you can just recreate them perfectly to do your will?
Which I imagine is another corporate reprimand on the part of the aliens, where they're like, Steve, you're overpromising. We can't let them know that we can make clones. They're just going to want everyone to make clones. They're going to wonder why we're possessing them, Steve.
Exactly.
It's really cool, but that's like a fourth quarter kind of thing where we're like, hey, we're struggling. Let's cut to the clones before we lose them,
Exactly.
Can't just go making clones right out of the gate.
Right, exactly.
Jesus Christ.
You got to save something. What do the stockholders think?
Just giving away clones, making them for free.
Exactly. So, and then during the course of that, where she is, being chased by herself essentially, and then she overcomes herself and kills herself. Yeah. Or this alien version of herself. That's supposed to be this like therapeutic moment for her, where she's able to finally kill this thing that's haunting her and become a new version of herself. Yeah. But I don't see it as that. It doesn't play as that.
No,
and part of that is because the clone thing pops up in one scene and is resolved one scene later. Yeah.
She kills it.
Yeah, exactly. And with relatively little problem. Yeah. Like despite being stabbed even. Yeah. And like, this is a recurring thing. Like you said, she seems overpowered for these aliens. Like the aliens don't seem to be able to fight her very well. And then I think like keeping the aliens maybe not mysterious, because like obviously, there's not much like horror to this whole thing anyway, but having them be these things that we don't know what they can do, and we don't know how they can do it, and we don't know how they're able to pop up, where they're able to pop up, and we don't understand all of these things. that would at least mirror a person's experience with trauma or anxiety or depression, where it just kind of pops up and we don't really know what it's going to do this time, but it's going to do something and it's going to mess with us and it's going to be a problem and we're going to have to overcome it. And instead, even the weird aliens, like the ones with the really long legs and the ones with the whatever, like the short ones, like they all kind of do the same thing. Like none of them really are different or scary in a unique way, like as if the trauma is, or the depression or whatever is now evolving into something new, something more powerful, like you would expect. And then by the end, if the thought is like, okay, she overcomes the trauma and now she's fine because she can live peacefully with her trauma. Right. Is that the idea? Like if the aliens represent the trauma, then I can now live among it.
Right.
And it not bring me down. If that's the thought, then I think two things. One, it's if you're reading it on the surface, it's a relatively uninteresting ending to the surface level problem of an alien invasion. And if you're reading it for the allegory of now I can live with my trauma, I think it's relatively poorly communicated. And I don't really understand why then she's like dancing at the end as if she doesn't have trauma anymore.
Yeah.
Shouldn't she just be living with it? Like however that looks, like, I don't know, like the aliens sometimes still attack, but that's okay. Like that's more on brand of I'm living with my trauma in a more healthy way. Sometimes it attacks, but I'm ready now.
I'm always ready. And to me,
I don't know.
I'm just like, well, what happened to those people? Like in that situation, like then are those people even real people or are they just because to me that communicates you may live with your trauma, but your trauma has ruined the lives of everyone around you.
Yeah.
It's not a very positive message. And like Smile was a similar kind of thing where the horror element is a manifestation of trauma. And the movie ends in a way where you're like, oh, are we going to sort of have her overcome this and say like, I can live with what I've seen. I can overcome this struggle I'm facing. And then the movie goes, nope, you're fucked. Nope. And it's just, you'll never break the cycle. It's impossible. Yeah. And it's like, well, that's depressing. But a movie that did do this well was The Babadook. The Babadook, spoilers for The Babadook. The Babadook ends with, they don't defeat this monster. It just lives in their basement now. And she goes down there to feed it and make sure it's okay and placate it basically. Yeah. And at least that was a movie that said your grief never really leaves. You just it just becomes manageable.
Yes.
And if you are going to make mental health the crux of your story, if you're writing allegory, that's the healthy way to resolve it. And that's also the way in which it's believable on the face level because like, okay, the Babadook represents grief, but it's still like a monster. So you want to make sure these people are okay. So you have to show that these people are fine feeding the Babadook. It just needs to be fed. It doesn't want to hurt us. It's just here. We've got it managed. Smile. The smiling people are creepy, but if I learn to live with them and I learn that I can take steps to not be afraid of it, they can't actually harm me. And I just learn to not be freaked out when I see them. Yeah. Like that would still scare the shit out of me, but like whatever, the thing to have done then in this alien movie would have been all my neighbors are fine. Yeah. No one's possessed or whatever. And every now and then that ship shows up or there's an alien walking around my kitchen and I just have to spray it with water like a cat and make it go and go away. And everything's fine. I'm not scared anymore.
I think there's like I could imagine a scene where she is freaked out about what's happening at her home. So she runs to a neighbor and the neighbor ends up dead by an alien. Mm-hmm. And she realizes like, oh, I just carried my trauma into this person's life and they got injured or killed. And now I'm going to go back home and lure all the aliens back to my house away from everybody else so that it's only me. Mm-hmm. And then in that climax, when she communicates with them or they, probe her mind or whatever, then the idea, is like they're confined in some way to her home. Yeah. And like, we can fight you here or we can whatever, but like we're confined here. Or you do the thing where like, you cut to like 6 months later, she's rebuilt the house, things are fine again. Yeah. And, suddenly one night, another one shows up, but this time she like, puts tape over her knuckles and grabs a bat and she's ready. Right. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't matter. Like bring it on. Right. And fine, I'll just do this the rest of my life and have you come back in, over and over and over for more, because you're mad about me and I'm mad about you and, you're going to come. And like, that's, to me, that makes way more sense thematically, but I don't know. I don't know. It just, the ending here feels incongruent with the theme. And it's a strange thing, but I guess it ends in a way that somebody was like, oh, it's subversive and no one will see this coming. And that's true, but only because it kind of doesn't make sense and it's kind of dumb. I think I just have issues with the messaging of the theme and then the lack of character arc. Like I see what you're doing, right? She's overcoming the trauma in some way, but I don't think it's well done. And I don't think that it really tracks character wise, because I don't think there was anything about these aliens that made her believe that by overcoming them, she's overcoming her trauma. Like we see that because we know how to read movies, but she, as the character in the film, I don't think would have any reason to feel like overcoming these aliens is going to help me overcome the other things. And speaking of the other things, I also thought that was a relatively lame bit of trauma. And I'm not saying that wouldn't be traumatic, but as much as they built up to it, I would have much preferred it to be something that happened relatively recently. Sure. Because I think having it happen as a kid softens the blow because we know it was an accident, and B, it happened like at a time when you're not really fully you know what I mean? But like if this happened, like if Caitlin Deaver's character is 25 and this happened 2 years ago or, whatever, even on my 21st birthday, I got drunk and got in a car wreck and she was in the passenger seat and died. Right. Right. Like that to me is way more like I made a choice. An adult made a choice and it caused the harm of somebody else. And because of that, I'm traumatized. But having it be this like childhood mistake, I think was a
mistake.
Yeah, I think it was too soft. I don't know if the idea was like, well, we don't want people to hate our main character, but yeah, I don't know.
I just didn't like that they just let her go.
Yeah.
That was my main beef was like, oh, they just let her go. Yeah. And and again, ostensibly the only reason why is because, wow, this person suffered enough, but as you said, like it's such a soft event that you wonder like, what happens to like people who are like molested and like, people who've been beaten by their parents and stuff like that. Like that's kind of worse.
Like than, people who are victims and not perpetrators. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like what happens to all of Harvey Weinstein's victims? What,
yeah. I'm not saying that perpetrators aren't also traumatized sometimes by their own actions. Right. Once they realize the error of them. But like, yeah, if the idea is that she's so like her life is so sad and depressing that the aliens themselves are depressed by it.
Is there a roach? Shit, hang on a second.
Yep.
Yeah, it's underneath the plastic bag. There you go. Fuck you. Woo! 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 He's stupid though. Jesus.
He's you see him? He was
Look at that.
oh, man, he was a wet one.
Oh,
Nope. Wow.
Fun.
It's exhilarating. There was a roach in my pantry and my wife wanted me to kill it. And then we got it out and it started running. And then we were going like, and she's jumping around and I'm trying to like make sure it doesn't run anywhere. And so I stop it from running under a table. And so it starts running at my bare feet. I was like, and then it starts going in circles. And it's the thing's going like, oh shit. And I just slapped it with this, sandal. Oh,
Yep. Fun times, man.
yeah. I killed one last. So I'm watching this movie last night, by the way.
Yeah.
And I'm watching like, these aliens with these really long, like Edgar Rice Burroughs legs,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hear something and I look up and there's a fucking roach on my ceiling above me.
Oof.
While I'm watching this movie. I was like,
Oh,
and I
no.
just ignore it. I was like, I'm just going to watch the movie. And then like I get up to get some pretzels and I sit down and I'm watching the movie and he's gone. I'm just watching the movie. And then he just crawls out from behind my screen on the wall behind me here. And I was like, okay. And I had to get up and kill him.
Yep. Jeez, man.
It was a 4D experience for me, this movie.
Right. But yeah, man, I don't know. I thought it was just thematically inconsistent.
I do. I mean, it was inconsistent. It's just trying to be too many movies at once. Like it should have just stayed with this character being the only one who was haunted, as it were, attacked. Yeah. Once you start bringing the other townspeople into it, they never talk. No one likes her. And we've got them possessed and out to get her now. And then that brings in other implications. Now I'm not thinking about the allegory. I'm thinking about shit. How many of these ships are there? Like where's the military? I'm just thinking about stuff. Like I'm thinking about stuff that I'm probably not supposed to be thinking about. Yeah. And it's just like, you see the sheriff and you're like, did that guy not even try to like pull his gun out and shoot something? Like,
right.
Not that this woman would have a gun, but it's like, I don't know. You live alone out in the country. You don't have a shotgun or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just, are you a pacifist now because you murdered your friend?
Right.
But you murdered her with a rock. There's rocks around.
There's rocks. Yeah.
You get a shotgun.
It's also funny that like, so she's able to dispatch a few of these aliens with just pointy objects, but that would mean that like guns are perfectly capable of killing them
easily.
So how did they ever get a foothold in America?
Well, in a small town too, like a rural. Yeah, it's not like a gun-free zone. It's not like Queensland or something. It's
every cop would just be like, boom. Okay, that one, boom, done. Got you.
Come on, that mailman's packing.
Yeah, he's for sure.
Packing,
literally. He's got packages. He's carrying packages around.
She's like, I don't know, I'm a seamstress. I got a lot of scissors.
Yeah, right.
I got a pin cushion. Well, and so like for a minute there, it's like, oh, is it gonna be like Home Alone? Because she puts the couch up, and then I was like, I thought maybe she was building traps, and I was like, oh no, she's not.
No, that would be too fun.
But they did have like a shot, like she sort of like takes a deep breath and then sort of like gets this resolve, and I literally thought of, this is it. Don't get scared now.
Yes. I thought of Home Alone as well and thought, wouldn't it be great if one of these aliens just starts talking like Joe Pesci?
Wouldn't it be great if the alien gets electrocuted and we briefly cut to a crude skeleton dressed up like an alien?
Yeah. Yes.
It's more fun to talk about it than it was to watch it,
Yeah, for sure.
Which is, I think, half the reason we even do this show. Sometimes it's it's good because it becomes material for our discussions. Otherwise, it was like sort of a waste of time.
Well, but this is what I always say is like, you can learn just as much from a bad movie as a good one. Yeah. And I'm not calling this a bad movie. No. I'm just saying like it's definitely not as good as it could be.
No.
And so what I learned, what I think anybody should learn from this is it doesn't matter if you have cool looking aliens. Cause I like the Greys. Yeah. Well, they're goofy, whatever, but I think that's cool. But it doesn't matter if you have good aliens, good creatures, good shots, good even actors.
Yeah.
The thing that matters is, does your story tell something that needs to be told? And if the answer is just, it tells a story about a girl who fights aliens and says, "Get out of my house, aliens," without saying it.
Yeah.
And there's some vague sense of trauma. Well, then that doesn't really do anything. That's not actually saying anything.
Yeah.
And we've said a million times, or I've said a million times on the show, survival is not a character arc.
I was thinking about that while I watched that. I was thinking about that during the movie. I don't know why she wants to live other than she wants to live.
Yeah.
And I know this is her house, and so she's going to instinctively defend it. But I also have no context for why this house is worth defending.
Right.
Was this your mother's house? Your late mother?
Right.
You know, like, are the aliens about to destroy something you and your friend built when you were kids? Like, is there a tree house in the back that y'all built when you were kids that you could go hide in and feel safe in and have a little memory real quick? You know, like, there's no, I get sentimentality in here that helps deepen character, and that could have been achieved with some dialogue.
Right. Well, and you also, the way they paint this character, there is no reason for her to keep living, and she seems to have nothing worth living for.
Right.
And that I think is a weird thing.
She seems almost too happy and too content at the beginning of the film. She's got her little business. She's making dresses. You know, she drives she dresses up even though she works for shit, man. You're lucky if I wear pants. But this girl's like, what dress am I going to wear? I'm like, oh, where's she going? To my basement to make some dresses. I was like, wait,
why are you
dressing up? Who are you trying to impress? And it's so this girl puts forth an effort, you know, takes pride in her appearance, likes her job, makes her own hours, enjoys her little like leisurely. She has a nice, pleasant life. There's like no hint that she carries trauma for this thing. And so it just comes off like, I don't want to be abducted because I really like the stillness I have out here. And then like, it's almost like the invasion reminds her of the trauma that otherwise she was kind of living with, because all she does is not going to town. She doesn't confront the girl's parents. She just has to tolerate the mailman being a dick. And that's about it.
Well, I also have questions about the girl's parents. One, do they spit on her every time they see her? Because this is a small town. And this has been happening.
This can't be the first time she's coming to town.
Yeah, it's been a decade, you know, like you have to have run into him before. And also because we know that she ran into him literally the day before. So presumably this happens daily. Okay. But also, wouldn't it have been, at least in my mind, a little more interesting if the idea was somehow I need to prove to those parents that this was an accident, and the reason for her persevering through this pain is I need to show, you know, Maud's mother that I'm not a terrible person.
Yeah.
And maybe it culminates in her saving Maud's mother in some way.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, okay, I've earned your forgiveness, you know, or whatever. And like, I've redeemed myself in your eyes. And that's what I was going for. That was why I'm pushing to keep living. But yeah, I mean, as it is, you're right. She seems perfectly happy until she's not. And then it seems like she has no reason to live. And so there's no goal that she's working towards. That's what I mean. Survival is not a character arc. Her character arc should have been, I have to clear my name. It was an accident.
Well, like, what if Maud's parents like became the willing like subjects of the aliens, and they're like, whatever, we'll help you, just don't kill us. And then like, so part of what they do is they round up townspeople, and then they especially round up Bryn. And then Bryn convinces them, like, I'm so sorry. Like she convinces them of her worth. And then that breaks their little throat monster hold. And the mom's like, she's not a bad person. And she pulls out her own little throat monster and she's like, let's help her save everyone, Yeah. And it would have been a little more cliche, but at least it would have been like, oh, something has happened. She needed to confront the parents. She needed to make amends. Yeah. And the parents needed to forgive her. And now that they can, we can move forward and actually overcome things.
Yeah. Or imagine the mother, Maud's mother, has the alien in the thing. And what she's seeing in her mind is she's with Maud and they're having a good day, doing whatever. And then Maud starts speaking like, it was an accident. I didn't mean to. It was an accident. I didn't mean to. And we cut back out of this fantasy world to find that it's Bren who's saying these words to her. Yeah. And it's her mind, Maud's mother's mind, that's putting that in Maud's mouth. Yeah. And so she's seeing Maud say, it was an accident. I'm so sorry it was an accident. And when she comes out, when Bren pulls the thing out of the mom's mouth or the mom pulls it out of her own mouth, then it's like, a moment of like, I'm going to hug you. I know it was an accident. Maud meant the world to you. She meant the world to me. Yeah. This is where dialogue is important. And like, and let's, kick these butts, like, here we go, and that's where Sigourney Weaver should have played that role. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I think you solved it. Nothing happened.
No. Yeah.
You say you fall aliens, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
There's no arc. And that's the problem.
I feel like sometimes too, just like people think that just kind of like imagery in and of itself is a good enough ending. It's Twilight Zone enough. Like, like they're like, when she's dancing, everyone's still possessed, but they're all dancing. Sounds like less silly on paper than it does in execution when you're telling people like, all right, now smile like you're a fucking weirdo. Okay. Like you're like a Stepford wife. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And we're going to pan up and then just the saucers are just flying around the sky and it's this beautiful sunset. And you're like, what?
Yeah. But what does it mean?
What does it mean though? Like, because I'm sitting here like, was this the goal of the aliens? Let's invade. Let's possess 80% of the population. And then we'll just let them what? We'll just police them.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. How long are we going to be here?
Right. Right.
Can I go? When do we get to go home?
Yes.
How long is this deployment?
Right.
Because I thought we were going to like either conquer or kidnap these people and bring them home for study. You're telling me we're just going to kind of stay here
and dance?
I could have asked my wife.
Right. Exactly.
When am I going to see my kids again?
What am I supposed to do? Just stay here and dance?
Yeah.
What is this?
A couple weeks? Are we getting hazard pay?
Right. Exactly.
What is this? Meals?
Right.
Do we get a per diem?
Yep. Right.
I want to go to Mickey D's.
Right. Nelson got stabbed in the head with a church.
He needs medical attention.
We need to unionize.
We've got we have the technology to resurrect him, but we can't do it here on the ship. We have to go home.
Right.
Did everyone just forget about this?
Right.
Our friend got stabbed.
Yeah, Nelson's dead.
He's right over there. You've put laundry on him. You can't even see him. That's why you don't know.
Yeah.
You're putting laundry on him. You guys, this man is dead.
He was a groomsman in my wedding.
He's literally swept under a rug. Get the rug off of him.
Nelson's the godfather of my fourth child.
This isn't what we do.
No one cares about Nelson.
This isn't who we are.
We've lost sight of ourselves.
I don't know if we need more or less of those corporate retreats we do before these things.
But we need something.
Something's got to change.
Something. And I hope you're going to do right by Nelson's family because they're out there like they don't know.
We either resurrect him or they're going to expect reparations. And
that's it. That's exactly right.
I feel like we've taken a huge hit financially on this invasion as it is.
I know I know he had life insurance. That's great. But that's not good
Doesn't
enough.
even let a man die.
You put him in harm's way.
I don't think our hands are clean in this. We sent him in there by himself. There's supposed to be 2 of us.
There are 18.6 trillion of us, and you sent 1 into that house. That's on you. You say we're understaffed. That's a poor allocation of resources. That's not understaffed.
If we're understaffed, we don't go in. We wait till we have the numbers. But we don't. This isn't about. It's all about results, right?
You've got 6 million on toilet duty.
I mean,
they need to be out there on the front lines. We can clean up after ourselves in the toilet. We're adults. If we can't clean up after ourselves in the toilet, we have a problem. You know what? These humans are more advanced than we are. If we just can't wipe,
I'm going to report this. You guys just wait. Just wait right there, bucko. I've got an email ready to rock and roll.
You know what? I'm going to CC you on this because you have got to hear.
You're all going to hear from HR.
Oh, and his out of office reply is on. Of course it is.
Well, he's going to see it when he gets back. And when he does, after he catches up on the other emails that I've sent, something's going to be done about this.
To whom it may concern. Yeah, it concerns me. To whom it may concern.
I'm very concerned.
Jybor will be out of office for the next 14 millennia while we invade planet Earth. Mm-hmm. If you need assistance immediately, contact Fleba. You know what?
She's not very good at her job.
I am contacting Fleba.
I'll contact her anyway, but I don't expect results.
No, to be fair, her mom's in assisted living. Her dad passed away last year. She's got a lot on her plate. She's got 17,000 kids. I get it. That's a lot of tiny mouths to feed. I'll cut her a little slack, Fleba, but not all the slack.
You got to do your job.
You got to do your job.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to do mine.
Look, she's used up all the FMLA she's going to get. This is not great.
We just need to do things the right way. We have to do this by the book.
I don't think you've read the handbook lately, but let me bring this out because you need to see Chapter 17, Article 7, I believe it was. Oh, no, wait, that's the dress code. No clothes shall be worn at any time. I got it. Yeah.
Must always be nude.
Must always be nude.
And that's another thing. We're not nude normally. We're just nude when we invade other planets. What the fuck is this?
That's a power move.
Come on.
I'm uncomfortable right now. I've seen too many of my coworkers nude.
People are going to think we do this all the time. It's outrageous.
Part of the reason I wanted to invade planet Earth is the outlets. And you're telling me I have to be nude on the clock.
We've invented interstellar travel.
Of course we have pants.
I know. And we should be wearing them.
We should be wearing pants.
In fact, this is going to be the first step of the union platform. Please, everyone needs to wear clothes.
Let us wear pants.
Let us wear pants.
Let us wear pants. And we're all bald. We're not naturally bald. I want to grow my hair out.
I have soul patch normally, and it's pretty awesome. Chicks dig it.
You make me cover up my tattoos.
I feel othered. Like I can't be an individual.
I've got a really great Bon Jovi tattoo, and you won't let me show it off. It says "Living on a Prayer,"
but the prayer is a 6-digit cupped hands, and
and the prayer is also the name of my spaceship, which I live on. So
I have a tattoo of Jesus Christ for some reason.
Yes. And Kurt Russell. I don't even know what that's about. I don't remember getting that one. But you know what? I don't regret it. I think that was Tim's bachelor party. I got the Kurt Russell.
No. You're confused. It was the research we had to do for this invasion. We were tasked with watching all Earth movies related to alien invasions. It was like that game film, so we could see how they might react to our presence.
Kurt Russell was in several of them.
That's where we learned not to shapeshift or we'd be set on fire all the time. Not to turn into dogs.
And that's where we discovered the greatness of Wilford Brimley. That explains my diabetes tattoo.
That also explains why we were forbidden from growing mustaches.
Because we all had them at the same time.
Our standard operating procedure really is, I'm seeing now it's been based completely on films by humans. And I got to say that's,
I hope you trim this down because that's a lot of nonsense that we just gave the audience.
I won't.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. All right, everyone. Well, if you listen this far, you're a true fan.
Yeah. You're a trooper.
A true believer. A true hooper.
A true hooper.
True hooper.
True hooper.
Well, that's it. Bye.
Bye.